the desk now to Florence Villeminot, who's going to take us to the international front pages. The Panama Papers, of course, I mean, they're dominating everything, really. The French press, international press, and in Iceland, it's having serious repercussions there, isn't it?
That's right. The Prime Minister is fighting for his political survival. Yesterday, thousands of protesters attended a demonstration calling for him to resign after his name came up in the Panama Papers. Take a look at this photo here on the front page of Fréttablaðið, the paper from Iceland. You can see that crowd there calling for him to resign. About 22,000 people, according to this paper. Quite a sizable part of the Icelandic population, in fact. Le Monde also reports on this demonstration yesterday. It was similar to those that were held during the financial crisis in 2008, according to Le Monde. And 7 years later, a lot of people feel like things just haven't changed. Le Monde, for instance, quotes 42-year-old Leija, who says that after the 2008 crisis, people said that things were going to get better in Iceland, but things are getting worse. We've been betrayed by those who said that things were going to get better.
Well, the Russian President Vladimir Putin's also been in the spotlight following that leak, of course, but he hasn't appeared directly in the papers. It's his close associates who have.
That's right, and the Kremlin has been very quick to bite back. Let's take a look at an article in the Moscow Times today denouncing what it calls a conspiracy orchestrated by the American Secret Service. The goal is to destabilize Russia, according to the Kremlin. Very interestingly, there's a similar tune in China. If we take a look at this editorial in the Global Times, you can see they're talking about the powerful force behind the Panama Papers. And this editorial accuses Western media of taking control of what it calls the interpretation of this massive data leak, and essentially just targeting people from non-Western countries, targeting leaders from non-Western countries, and the Global Times sees Washington's hand behind all this.
The Global Times, always good value for money there. Well, several people close to President Xi Jinping have reportedly come up in this leak, but we're not really seeing anything in the Chinese press, are we?
That's right. I really leafed through China Daily, the official Chinese paper today. Not a single word on the Panama Papers, it must be said. Here's the front page talking about how exotic names will soon vanish. These are foreign names in China, so you can see they're focusing on something completely different.
Stories that matter.
Exactly, very important stories. Interestingly enough, though, a lot of other papers outside of China are focusing on what's happening. And let's take a look. This is L'Orient Le Jour, a Lebanese paper, randomly focusing on what's happening in China. You can see they're talking about the fact that people close to President Xi Jinping have come up in the Panama Papers. And what's interesting, and L'Orient Le Jour reminds readers of this, is that since he came to power in 2012, well, the president has waved a very public campaign against corruption, a campaign aimed at cleaning up the Communist Party and tightening his grip on power, according to L'Orient Le Jour.
Well, it's not just China that's been hit by the scandal. Algeria, another country that's been whacked up in this.
That's right, and Algerian papers are talking about the leak. Let's take a look here at El Watan. Man, you can see there is actually the current mining and industry minister, Abdeslam Bouchareb. Now, his name has appeared on the list. You can read about it here in the Algerian papers, but for now, the press is being very factual and less outraged. Lots of outrage, though, in the British papers because Prime Minister David Cameron's father has come up in the leak. You can see The Guardian all over this story. Exclusive, the hidden deals that helped David Cameron's father avoid paying UK tax. Now, the Prime Minister reacted by saying all this was a private matter, and there's a cartoon in The Guardian mocking the Prime Minister for just this. You can see him on a beach here in some tax haven saying, this is a purely private matter, move along, there's nothing to see here. Of course, that skeleton in the closet there for the Prime Minister. The Daily Mail, the right-wing tabloid, is also focusing on how Cameron has been dragged into this tax havens store.
Okay, well, Cameron's been urged to take serious action after the UK's been named as being at the heart of the super-rich tax avoidance network.
That's right. The Independent reports that Britain is second only to Hong Kong in a list of international jurisdictions where the most banks, law firms, and middlemen associated with the Panama Papers operate. So quite a lot on Britain's shoulders here. And if we go back to the Daily Mail, and there's a comment piece by Max Hastings, which says that David Cameron should should blush that so many scams are conducted through British-administered tax havens. And you can see this headline here. No wonder we little people who pay tax are so sick and tired of our elite. But just finally, a word on the leak itself. How did this leak happen? It's incredible, and there's a really good article you should check out here in the Daily Beast. It focuses on the fact that it really all began with a simple question. Bastian Obermeier, a reporter from the German paper Süddeutsche Zeitung, was contacted by a still unknown figure who sent him this message: "Hello, this is a John Doe. Interested in data?" And he said yes.
Indeed he did. Thanks very much. Florence Villeminot taking us through the papers. Stephen Carroll with the Business News. Do stay with us here on France 24. Back in a few moments with the latest news headlines.